Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper.
So Garfield, how is everything going now that it's peak season? I'm sure everything's running smooth, right?
Oh yeah, smooth as butter. let me tell you something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if many people in our audience know where my building is. It's in Collin County. And if you Google Collin County, you're going to come up with a list of one of the fastest growing areas in the nation. Maybe number one, maybe number two, but in the 4 days this week, my center has delivered the most stops in the country.
In the country.
Tuesday through Friday.
That's a lot of cardboard.
It's been that way for years, and we're still not ready for it. Every year this week comes, and it's just like, oh, surprise, we've got a lot of deliveries.
We didn't know it was coming, right?
Know.
This is what the companies... Oh, wait, you didn't know it was coming. But, this year it seems like they didn't hire enough people.
Absolutely,
that. It just... They're trying to save money. They're trying to push us. They're trying to use the 70-hour rule. Oh, God, they're trying to just do whatever they want. That's what we're going to get into first, because we already had a huge issue with this the other day. With all of a sudden the 70-hour rule is implemented, 70-hour rule is implemented. And I'm like, where did this come from? I didn't hear anything, and I didn't know what was going on. I mean, did you hear anything?
No, it was, matter of fact, we got a call from our center manager saying, hey, I just got off a conference call. She was all excited. I just got off a conference call. You guys get to work 70 hours. And I'm like, I'm not as excited about this as you are.
Yeah, no, not at all. And what we found out, obviously, was there was as usual, a lot of lying going on, by management. And sure, I spoke to my BA just to make sure. And, yes, I think the 70-hour rule was put in. I still can't get the straight answer on that, but there's so many issues. But the real thing is the company is saying, oh, you're being forced in. No, there's no more forcing in. Okay.
As a matter of fact, like that language,
RPCDs.
It's Article 26, Section 5. That's the DOT hours. That language, hardly changed. Basically, all they took out of it was the 22.4 stuff, and they literally crossed out the or is forced for RPCDs.
Oh, yeah.
So, to me, that says nobody that's a full-time driver. Now, if you're air or TCD or SSD or whatever else, it's a different story. But if you're an RPCD, then it reads to me that you can't be forced to work over 60 hours. And that's how, in a center that could have certainly used it, that's how I interpreted it. And that's how I told my drivers to handle it. I was like, if you want to work over 60, that's your choice. But this is a hard job to do for 60 hours in a week, let alone 70.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they want more and more and more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the language, okay? Yeah. The language that hasn't changed, okay? So this is Article 26, Section 5, DOT hours of service. The company shall not change the DOT 60 hours in 7 days to the 70 hours in 8 days rule for package drivers except at peak, with prior approval of the company's president of labor relations and the Teamsters package division director. The DOT standard may also be changed if required due to acts of God or emergencies creating service disruptions. When the company changes the 60-hour rule, it shall first solicit volunteers to work in excess of 60 hours from all package car drivers in the center. If sufficient volunteers cannot be obtained to cover the over 60 hours, the company will force seasonal drivers, non-seniority package car drivers, and then part-time cover drivers. Now, they cannot force in RPCDs. I'm going to repeat this. They cannot force in RPCDs. That's it. I'm going to read the rest of it. 60 hours in a week pursuant to this paragraph will be compensated at double time for all those hours, anything over 60 hours. Now, wasn't there? Didn't we ever hear of a problem coming out of, what is it, Local 516 in Oklahoma?
A lot of Local 516 up in Oklahoma. Yeah, they had. It seems to me like they're saying that anybody that is a Tuesday through Saturday driver, if you came in on Monday and you're working the Saturday like it's your normal day, and you still have, if you worked at 58 hours. But at that point, you have 12 hours to work, so you are forced to work up to 70. Any of the full-time drivers that are Monday through Friday that volunteer to work on Saturday are also said, oh, well, you have enough hours now, you have to work up to 70. And I can tell you right now, like, I was somebody that came in. I'm a full-time driver. I'm top. Our center has, I believe, 120 some odd full-time drivers, our RPCDs in our center. And I'm like number 20 in the center. And I came in on Saturday, and I worked up to my 60, and I went home.
That's it, because that's all you have to do. And for the drivers in 516, I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm going to repeat this. RPCDs cannot be forced in over 60 hours. That's it. That's it. Understand that. That's your right. You cannot be forced in. Voluntary, and even if you volunteer, to work, you can work however many hours you want to work. You come in, you work. Yeah. I mean, you can't be forced to do anything. There's no forced involved with it. Okay. No. And to hear that this is happening anywhere, but that it's happening out of 516 in Oklahoma. It's just anyone who's listening in that local, you RPCD, you cannot be forced in. I want you to know that. That's your rights. We just read the language. And the company's going to lie, when they do it, like, they're not going to lie in front of me. They're going to do it and try to get the drivers on the side, right?
They're not going to say that they're not going to say that to us, because those of us that are have been around for a while and know the language and understand it and are not afraid of them, but they're going to go after the drivers that are 1 and 2 years that says that are afraid of the management, and they're going to be like, oh, well, you have to work until 70 now. No, you don't.
No. And one thing, I think that if anyone's having issue with stewards where you can't get stuff done, I'm going to tell you the best way to handle a situation like that is get educated. That's the most important thing. Because if you're educated and you know what's going on, you'll know what the company can and can't do. If the steward's not doing the right thing, you know what they can and can't do. That's important.
Yeah.
Education is important. And, reading the contract, listening to the podcast, anyone can send in any questions as pertaining to what we're talking about today. Or I'm going to say it again. I know I've said it a bunch of times. RPCDs cannot be forced in over 60 hours. That's it. That's it. And, RPC, if you're Tuesday through Saturday, you can't be forced in on Monday either. Right? I mean, it's out of your work week. You can't be forced in. So anyone out there who's listening, you need to know that. Know your rights. And that's where you're going to have the power to say, okay, no, you're not going to do this to me. It's crazy. I mean, Garfield, it's just every year it's the same old thing, right?
It really is. And I also want to point something out. That's a good thing to point out too, is like, the DOT hours of service, the company, it's 60 in 7 days, or they're converting it to the 70 hours in 8 days. But they're expecting you to work 70 hours in 6 days, is what they're expecting you to do. And, like, this job, whether it's hot or cold, or perfect weather outside, you do a hard job. You do it all day long. You're up and down, you're in and out of a truck, you're lifting heavy boxes. And then on top of that, you have family obligations and things when you go home. Fatigue is real, and it's real this time of year. People fall asleep. Maybe you don't do it behind the wheel of the package car. Maybe you do it on the way home. But you have your safety is your decision. And the company is going to try to tell you it's theirs. And the last person in our center that left their safety decisions up to the company died.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that happen again to anybody in any center around the country or the world, because a member of management or all of management is worried about getting packages delivered. It's just cardboard. And it's December 3rd. We've got a whole month left to get caught up on this stuff. So
absolutely,
if they're saying, and they won't back down, if you're in a position to where they won't back down on this, tell them, look, I'm tired. I'm fatigued. I don't feel I don't feel like it would be safe not only for me to be out there behind the wheel of the package car, but it would be safe for me to get home to my family at night if I go out there and work another 10 hours for you.
And that's it. That's what it comes down to. I mean, and they, when they say, "Oh, we care," I mean, come on, man. If you cared, you wouldn't be doing the things you were doing.
Exactly. If they cared, this 70-hour rule wouldn't exist.
No, and they wouldn't, like your manager, she wouldn't be happy about it. Oh, you guys get to work 70 hours. Oh, man, oh, no, and I get to make your life miserable for all 70 of those. How about that? Jesus. I mean, I just...
Listen, I will happily make management's life miserable for free.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, man. There is, exactly. I totally agree with that. And it's this thing, and, and again, I'm going to say it, it's about management knowing who they can get over on, right? Because, well, maybe they're not educated. If we were all educated, they wouldn't be able to get over on any of us. That's how we get back at the company. You get empowered. You get educated. Know the contract. Learn it. Ask questions. That's how you're going to know your rights. And if you know you're right, you stick by your gun. That's it. I mean, you have to. I mean, there's no other way about it. And they know when they're talking to you and you give this puzzled look, they're like, "Oh, we got him. We got him."
Yeah.
And that's not right. Yeah. That's not right.
And
so
if you're steward, like, I don't know how it's done. I know certain types of countries elect their stewards. Some are appointed and things like that. But if you are having issues with the leadership in your building, whether that be stewards or even the leadership in your local, get them out. Like, if you have to become that steward that everybody goes to instead of the person that you know is doing wrong,
that's it.
You become that steward. If the people at the local are not upholding your rights the way you want them to, vote them out.
That's exactly it. Don't just accept it, whatever.
Oh, we can't do anything about it.
Vote them out.
Oh, it's like, we can't do anything about it. Let me, 767 is the largest southern region in the United States. We have about, 11,000-ish members, right? And every year, every 3 years when we elect, we get maybe 3,000 of them vote for the leadership?
Nope.
Is it even? Nope. It's not even
2,000.
2,000? So 20% of the people that could vote for the leadership do. So if you're in an even smaller local than this, which most of you listening will be, it doesn't take that many votes to change that. You just have to be informed and be ready to make that step.
Yeah, anyone could be a member. You sign up. That's it. But you got to be an active member.
Yes.
I mean, if you want change, you have to make change.
Yes.
You do. And it's, when I, came down from New York, I was like wild, I was like, what is going on? You want to force me in on a Saturday? And this was in 2006. I was like, nope. And everyone showed up, and I didn't show up because I knew my rights. It wasn't being tough. I knew my rights. And everyone needs to know their rights. That's the bottom line. That's what we're trying to get through. The company's going to do. They're a known entity. They're going to do what they're going to do. Get educated. Get other people who want to get educated too. And you start in groups and you educate each other, and it grows. It gets bigger. And that's how, you'll be able to deal with these problems. And I hope there's some resolution out of 516. I hope they can get some resolution out there, and hopefully we've said, what the contract says. They can't force the RPCDs over 60. So, I think we've made that clear. Don't you think so?
I think so too.
Fairfield?
And
yes.
My building's going to continue to fight that fight, and I'll be there for everybody that needs to be that needs to fight it.
Always, absolutely. Well, I'm glad we covered this, and peak isn't done. So this is going to come up again, and we're going to talk about it, and maybe a different version's happening. They're trying to do something else, but we're here. We're going to talk about it. It's peak season.
Yep.
So I'm Jeff Schenfeld.
And I'm Garfield Hooper. We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.